In order to construct a strong annotated bibliography in a sound research paper, it is important to begin by selecting scholarly sources. As there are numerous options for locating sources, it is important to effectively evaluate each source that you find to make sure that it is scholarly and worthy of inclusion in your project. So, when you need to incorporate research into a project, where do you start? Do you go to Google? Do you visit the public library? Have you ever used the college's online library in Blackboard? How do you guarantee that you are using scholarly sources? In order to evaluate if a source is scholarly, we must first identify some criteria that we can look for. Scholarly sources will have an attributed author or authors. Having an attributed author allows the reader to research that author and identify their credentials to make sure that they are an expert on the subject. Organizations like the National Institute of Mental Health or the Center for Disease Control and Prevention are also considered authors. Scholarly sources will also have a date of publication or a date when the web page or information was last updated. This allows readers to know they are using the most up-to-date and relevant research. Many scholarly sources are also peer-reviewed. This is most true with books and scholarly journal articles, as they have a lengthy publication process, but when a source is peer-reviewed, it is reviewed by other authorities on the subject who verify that the information is accurate. Finally, most scholarly sources, including websites, will include citations and a references page. This is an easy element to look for when evaluating sources, and it can even help you find other potential sources to use. Now, let's give it a try. Let's say that we are researching breast cancer. If we start by typing breast cancer into Google, a number of resources will come up, including the Wikipedia page on breast cancer, the Medline Plus encyclopedia entry on breast cancer, and a Today Health and Wellness article. Let's evaluate these sources, starting with Wikipedia. Although this Wikipedia page includes a wealth of information, and they do cite their sources, Wikipedia is considered an unstable source because anyone can edit it at any time. That said, Wikipedia is a great place to familiarize yourself with a topic, and the references page at the bottom of the Wikipedia page can help you to locate useful scholarly sources. The Medline Plus encyclopedia entry is actually quite scholarly. It is published by the U.S. National Library of Medicine and is a .gov website, which indicates that it is a government publication. The page includes information about the authors and a recent review date at the bottom of the page, as well as a references page. Finally, the Today Health and Wellness article is somewhat scholarly, but it is mostly a popular source. It does not provide much information on breast cancer and therefore does not include citations or references, but it would be useful if we were discussing post-breast cancer beautification. The article includes an author and a date of publication, indicating that it is stronger than some web sources we may come across. While Google is great, libraries offer access to a variety of scholarly resources, including subscription databases and other resources generally unavailable on the internet. The college's library databases, which are accessible by logging into Blackboard and clicking the link for the online library, are a great place to locate scholarly sources, and they include a variety of options that can make research very easy. Let's go to the online library, select a database from the list, like Academic Search Premier or CINAHL Plus, and search for breast cancer. We can limit our search by selecting PDF full text. This will reveal only resources that are immediately accessible. This means that you can locate scholarly, peer-reviewed sources at any time, day or night. You can also limit the publication date so that you are only seeing sources from the last 10 years, or select the options for peer-reviewed or scholarly academic journals to guarantee that your list includes only scholarly journal articles. Finally, once you've found your resources, you can email these articles to yourself with an APA citation already attached, making the research and citation process that much easier. Remember, whether we are using Google, online databases, or even our local public library, we may find that our research generates too many resources to read each one. This means that we need to narrow our source lists as effectively as possible and use the following criteria to quickly evaluate the effectiveness of a source. First, look at the references list. Does the article cite references? Then look at any abstracts, headings, and subheadings. Are these topics related to your focus in your research project? Next, you can read the introductory paragraph and skim the body paragraphs. This should give you a general overview of the source and the kind of information it includes, which can be helpful in determining if the source is scholarly and will be useful in your research project. When selecting scholarly sources for a research project, we also want to make sure that we are compiling a variety of information from a variety of sources, instead of finding 5 sources that all say the same thing. Depending on the project, we may need to find background information, historical context, biographical information, criticism and analysis, statistics, recent updates, or even other kinds of information. Knowing this ahead of time can help you as you conduct your research. Once we have collected the books, scholarly journal articles, and even websites that we want to use in our research project, we need to organize our materials. This means that we should read through each source and note important information. Make sure to cover all of your bases and ask yourself, where will I use this information in my paper? It could be helpful to make note cards or construct an outline. With note cards, you can easily move your research around as you are writing and revising. On the other hand, an outline can help you plan your paragraphs even before you write, which will help keep you more focused as you write and revise. On this slide, you can see an example of an outline. This writer has selected their topic and constructed an outline for their research project. Take note of the white balloons placed throughout the outline. This indicates where the writer plans to incorporate the related research and source material. As you begin compiling research for your Essay 3 research paper, you will want to make sure to keep track of the bibliographic information for each source that you find. Constructing your citations and keeping track of this information as you go will make it easier to cite your sources parenthetically and in your reference page as you work on your first draft.